Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Bundesliga Fantasy Football Show. We are back for match week 12. Look ahead. So joining me this very fine morning is Rune. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's been a bit of a mixed week from a German football perspective. If you look at the European results, some were good, some weren't. But yeah, some interesting games in midweek, and now I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Some really good games to look forward to, which obviously were covered last night on the prediction show. We, however, are obviously turning our attention to fantasy football matters and everything around that. Sit back, enjoy along with us, get yourselves a question ready. We've already had a good few that have been asked pre-show, which is great. But yeah, if you're watching us live, do get them in whilst we're on, and we will answer every question that comes our way. Before we get started, just the usual nod to making sure that you like this video. Makes a difference, believe it or not. We often get a great amount of likes, so can you push us up to maybe 40 or 50 likes? That'd be awesome. Like I say, comment along, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Of course, make sure you go and check Bulinews out, Rune's awesome site that are producing fantastic long reads, previews, reviews, fantasy articles, and Rune was just telling me about something very interesting as well, which I'll keep zipped until it's ready to go as well. So yes, we will crack on in the usual style and the usual format, which is obviously to go through budget, mid-price, and premium players in each position. So we're going to start with defenders. So they're on screen for you all now. Just saying morning to Typo, yo. I'm glad you've got a lot of energy for this time in the morning, or it might not be morning where you are. So I hope you enjoyed the show with us. Right then, we'll crack on, Rune, and then we'll come to questions as and when they come in. So yeah, over to you for some defender picks.
Yeah, thanks. My budget pick in defense is Leopold Kierfeld from Union Berlin. And I think that home game they have against Heidenheim is one that a lot of fantasy Bundesliga managers will target. Looks like a good game for Union and a lot of points there if you invest in options from the Capital Club. A lot of people will probably go for Danilo Doki, and fair enough, I understand that. Maybe you even invested in him last week already, so yeah, that was a wise move if you did that. But I just wanted to mention Kierfeld as an alternative. He costs a lot less, and he scored more than 200 points in each of his last in two of his last three games. And he's already scored twice this season, just in the DFB Pokal, not in the Bundesliga. So he's not matching Doki's goal returns, but you wouldn't expect him to. Nevertheless, he's shown that he's capable of scoring, and he is a threat from set pieces as well. So I think a really solid budget option, and one you could potentially pair with Doki if you'd like to have two Union defenders, for example. And then my mid-price pick is Vladimir Sofal from Hoffenheim, and he's been great for them since arriving last summer. He's on 1 goal and 4 assists in 11 Bundesliga games. So that's quite solid for right back. And fantasy-wise, he's been producing some good returns as well. Really consistent performing. Just looked at his numbers. He hasn't dropped below 157 points in any match since match day 3. Seems like you usually get a solid return from him. And at the same time, Hoffenheim have a quite good matchup at home against Augsburg, who haven't been particularly strong on the road this season. They haven't won an away game since the opening match day. So looks like a good game for Hoffenheim at home, and they're also one of the teams you could target this week, I think, in addition to Union Berlin. And then finally, Maximilian Mittelstadt from Stuttgart is my premium option. Probably one of the top picks in the game. Unfortunately, his premium price reflects that as well. Nevertheless, he's shown a few times that can be worth the investment if you can fit him in alongside Grimaldo. That is, they're playing a pretty good game against HSV, game they'll look to dominate and win after a really, really good win in Europe against Go Ahead Eagles last night. They will look to continue a good form, and as always, he could be key to a good performance. He has a goal involvement in each of his last 2 Bundesliga games, and he even took a penalty recently, which suggests that he'll probably get the chance again if Stuttgart get another penalty. So that's always a +2.
Yeah, very true. I think a lot of people know DFB struggles from the penalty spot. So you're right, Rune. He did step up and he did, convert. So very likely chance that he'll get another opportunity. Some good picks there. Right. So I don't think we have any live questions, which is fine because we did have one that was defender related and that was asked pre-show. So I'll pick this up now. Which was from our good friend FPL Swans on Blue Sky, and it was a double defense question. First of all, what to do with Christensen, and for those brave brackets or stupid enough not to have Grimaldo, who is best to start? I have Raum, Dookie, and Schlotterbeck. So I guess first question or first part of the question, Rune, is what to do with Rasmus Christensen. What do we think about his options for this week?
I fully expect him to start. As far as I remember, he was out of the midweek game for personal reasons. But I read a build report yesterday that he's expected to come back at the weekend, and of course he didn't play in midweek, so probably has more fresh legs than some of the other options. So from how it looks now, no reason to sell Christensen. And the other question was about the alternatives to Grimaldo as star options at the back, right?
Correct. Yes. FPL Swans current back line was Raum, Dookie, and Schlotterbeck. Okay.
Brown is then I would probably go for Brown if I had to pick one of them. They're playing at home too. Against Wolfsburg, were in a lot of trouble. So Frankfurt will be
Sorry, Rune. I said Raum, not Brown.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, so Raum, Schlotterbeck, and Dookie.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Dookie then. Just because of the matchup, could really see him do well this week. Can't really imagine him not picking up at least 200 points. The thing is that for him to really get a stunning return, you probably need a goal from him. And he has scored 4 goals in the league already this season, but sometimes that can be a bit random with the center backs, whether they actually get a goal or not. So you can't expect that. Still, should have a really solid floor this week, and would be really surprised to not see him do well. So I think Dookie is a really solid option.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. FPL Swans, great question. Morning to you, Broody. No worries for joining the party late. I'm sure you can catch up, and if you've got any questions, do get them in. Another one in here from Typo. So we're switching Raum out for Grimaldo or Maxi Mittelstadt, Rune. I guess based on matchups, certainly worth a punt. Obviously, there's a lot of interest in the Friday night opener because a lot of people are leaning, not a lot of people, but a lot of people think that Gladbach will give Leipzig a rough old game. So is it maybe, worth thinking about that switch?
Yeah, you need to have Grimaldo in your team, that's for sure. So if that's what it takes to get him in, then I'd do that. But Raum isn't necessarily a bad hold. As we've talked about a few times on the show already, his price tends to be quite high for what he delivers. But then again, he's in good form. He had a really good game last week and outscored Grimaldo. And yeah, sure, Gladbach are in good form, but so are Leipzig. They've played some really good football, and they should have beaten Werder by more than 2 goals last week. So will be an interesting game. Wouldn't necessarily sell Raum, but again, if that's what it takes to get Grimaldo in, then you probably have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And having said that, yeah, Gladbach playing well, but they also have plenty of ability to concede goals still. So yeah, I'm sure Raum could be central to that. So thank you for that question. Another one in here. Let's get this one on screen. Morning, Aldo. Hope you're well. Thank you for this question. Grimaldo, star again, or are there better options? I think, yeah, based on what we've just been discussing, Rune, Grimaldo is a very strong star option. But you mentioned Brown as well as a potential there.
Yeah, personally, I'm leaning towards just keeping Grimaldo as the star pick. As we saw last week, Dortmund, they can concede a lot of goals as they did against Stuttgart. It's actually weird because a lot of games they look quite solid at the back, but then they can have those freak games like against Juventus in the Champions League where they suddenly conceded 4, and against Stuttgart where they conceded 3. So at the same time, Leverkusen are coming into the game with a lot of confidence, I think, from the win over Manchester City. So I wouldn't mind just keeping Grimaldo as the star pick. I think he has good potential this week as well. Should be an interesting game that could go either way, really. But as for the alternatives, Mittelstadt is a good one, I think. Brown is another quite good option at the back this week. Would probably go with one of them, if not Grimaldo. But personally leaning towards just going with Grimaldo as per usual.
Yeah, absolutely. Why fix it if it's broken? And the question here from Zayed. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for this question. Apart from Kane and Elise, who is the best third asset from Bayern, not considering Diaz because of his high price? Rune, potential other options then from an FCB point of view. Their fixture stands to reason that you need minimum 2 attacking Bayern players that we think are going to start, which are probably the obvious ones. But yeah, for Zayed, who's that third player that might be able to hold some points?
Yeah, it is a bit of a nightmare to predict who will start for Bayern this week. For me, I think it's really difficult because on paper it's a very appealing matchup for them. But I mean, that can be an advantage, but that can also mean that they'll use this game to rotate a bit and give breaks to some of the usual starters who are coming off a quite demanding game against Arsenal, and they're also playing in the Cup in midweek, so they have a tight schedule at the moment. So actually, it's a bit difficult to say at the moment. I'd say Diaz is probably my top pick from Bayern this week because he's the only one we know will start out of the attacking players. The rest, you have to think about what makes sense. I think, me personally, I think Diaz will certainly start. Kane, could see him start as well because he had a pretty quiet game against Arsenal and probably look to get back on the score sheet there this week. Should be a good opportunity to do that. Then Jackson, I think Jackson could get a run out. Then he'll probably play up front, and Kane would play at the central attacking midfield position. Then we have Diaz playing on the left. So who's playing on the right? Will it be Ulisse or will it be Karl? They've both started 2 games in a row. Ulisse is, of course, more important still, despite the fact that Carl has impressed when he's been given the chance. So for me, what is most likely is that Olise will start and maybe get subbed off fairly early for Carl. So yeah, to answer your question, it's a bit difficult to predict who will start. Maybe consider Kimmich because he's one of the options that I'm quite certain about as well. Also because he was given a rest in the Bundesliga last week. So I'll probably pick him. If I can't pick Diaz, then it'll probably be Kimmich.
Yeah, absolutely. Big question, but a tricky question there, Zayed. So yes, thank you for asking it. Rudy here asking, may it be wise to drop one or even both Kane or Elise, considering the favourite Bundesliga matchup and the upcoming clash in the DFB Pokal? Diaz is the only really nailed player. Exactly what we've just been talking about, Rudy. It's an interesting thought process, I guess. Rune also comes littered with kind of threats of if you do drop either one of them or both, their potential to haul points, and you could be left thinking, oh, if only I kept them. So a tricky one, but an interesting thought as well.
Yeah, as I just said before, I expect them both to start, although we can't be sure. So I'm leaning towards keeping them, also because they both hold so much potential. So yeah, as you say, Roy, if you sell them, they can really make you regret it. What you could do, if you want to be absolutely sure, would be to get Diaz in instead of Kane just for this match day alone, just because you know Diaz will play, and he should also have big potential either way. That could be an option, I think, but alternatively, you could keep both players, go 4-4-2, for example, and maybe start someone else, so that you will have them in your team and they're ready to come on if they're playing, and if not, they'll stay on the bench, and then you probably have some other really solid picks starting.
Yeah. Do we feel that Kane is more or less likely to start than Elise, given that, we've talked about that Kane can play in the 10 or obviously as number 9. Elise will come off the right-hand side, but it's either him or Carl. So is it then a case of potentially switching Elise for Diaz, and then you've got Diaz as definitely a starter and Kane as a more likely starter, or are we now just playing if buts and maybes?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think on the right side of midfield and the right wing position, I think it's basically between Elise and Carl, and I could imagine Carl being given a break now because he's played these 2 really intense games and also coming off a big experience for him in Europe. Company has been talked about being careful with him and taking it slowly and giving him the time he needs. So that's why I sort of have the feeling that Olise will start, although I'm again can't be sure. With Kane, there's actually one more alternative, and that's Guerrero, who's often been deployed in the central attacking midfield role. His company has done that a few times, so he could do that and then start Jackson up front if he really wants to rotate. So it would be Diaz, Guerrero, and then Olise and Jackson up front. That's another option. Whether Kane or Olise is more likely to start, I think that's it's a bit tricky. Hard to say. I would probably just keep them both. I just don't want to miss out on any of them. But if I had to make a change, take one of them out, probably be Kane, and then replace him with Diaz, just because we know Diaz will start.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to defenders quickly. Zayed mentioning Amos Pieper. Has been pulling some good numbers. Rune averaging 198 per match, and started he started the last 5 games at the very least down at 7.89 mil. Someone who has absolutely gone under the radar, probably because the way that Bremen have been playing, I guess, this season.
Yeah, I also looked at his numbers actually, but that was before the Leipzig game, and I didn't want to bring him in for that one. But as far as I remember, he actually still picked up a solid amount of points, despite the fact that Werder lost that game. So clearly, he's a great option for the price, and is playing in a way that suits the game rules. And I guess it's because he's winning a lot of duels. I think that must be the reason why he's doing so well. And yeah, if you win a lot of duels, you easily pick up a solid amount of points in the game. And now Bremen even have a great schedule actually. Köln and HSV coming up in the next two. So definitely a solid budget option at the back.
Indeed. Lovely stuff. Well, I mean, what a fantastic start to the show. So many awesome questions and comments for us to get through, that we're only moving on to midfielders now. So Rune, over to you to go through your 3 picks.
Yeah, starting up with Grisha Prömel from Hoffenheim. I think I mentioned him last week as well. He's made a really good entry into the starting 11 in recent games, and it's become a really important player for Hoffenheim again. Unfortunately, he's had some bad luck with injuries earlier, but we always knew he's a great midfielder to have in your team, not just because he's capable of scoring goals, but also because he works so hard and has the sort of mentality that can be really important for a team always, pushing and being vocal on the pitch as well. And in a fantasy sense, what I just said, he's working hard, and that means you're probably winning duels, you're involved, also gets into the penalty box to finish off chances. So he's the type of player who's capable of scoring points in a lot of ways. And Hoffenheim, as you can see on his recent returns as well, I think he has 3 returns above 200 in a row. So he's on a very good roll fantasy-wise. And as we talked about earlier, Hoffenheim are playing, they have a favorable home game against Augsburg. So a good option at a budget price. And the same with Johan Mansambi, who is probably more of a budget pick really than a mid-price pick, but I just wanted to mention him. Costs just a bit more than Prömel. I think he stands out as one of the best budget midfield options this week. Pretty much like Prömel, he's capable of getting points through both defensive and attacking contributions. And he's been quite reliable for some time now without really getting those amazing returns. He's averaged 177 points across his last 5 matches. So that's quite solid for the price. And I think he could raise that average in the next 2 games. When he's playing Mainz and Heidenheim, who are both struggling a lot. So probably my favorite Freiburg pick. You could also look at some of the more expensive options. Maybe even Vincenzo Grifo, although he hasn't been performing that well this season. And then finally, my premium pick is Bilal El-Khanous from Stuttgart. Just a really important player for Stuttgart. Showed that again last night. They're playing an appealing game against HSV. The question is, could he get a break? Maybe you can help there, Roy. I personally expect him to start, also because he was taken off fairly early last night. And again, he had a good game. So also sometimes it makes sense to just, if a player is in form, then just let him keep playing. And I think that will happen this week. But what do you think, Roy?
I think he starts again. Yeah, I feel confident that he'll get another run. And then probably some poke out rotations, which no doubt will be quite dangerous against a Bolton side that will be very motivated. But I think that's what will happen.
Yep. Yeah. So he's my premium pick. I also like Romano Schmid in the same price category, and Jens Stage from Werder, as we just talked about. They have some good games coming up, and they're both very capable of getting good returns as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for those picks, Rune. Broody, yeah, picking up here pretty much what you're just mentioning about Schmidt and of course Steg, who could be good options from a Bremen perspective. Yeah, if Werder often do anything in a match, those two players are very most likely to be heavily involved in it in terms of a attacking point of view. So yeah, they stand to reason to be good options. Just want to see here other questions that we had from Gavin. I think we'll do those at the end though, because they're more in relation to strikers, which is fine. Lovely stuff. So I think we're good question-wise for midfielders. But obviously, if you do want to ask any more, do get them in and we'll come back to them. Therefore, we can swiftly move on to striker picks, Rune. So here you are again.
Yeah, thank you. Budget pick is Andrej Ilić from Union Berlin. I think his price is it's very appealing. It's actually interesting because he hasn't scored in the Bundesliga this season yet, and he found the net a lot of times last season. Even I think he scored 3 or 4 goals in a single game as well. So he's capable of hitting those of getting those returns where he just gets multiple goals in a game. And this is the sort of game where this could potentially happen. Playing at home against Heidenheim, who are in a lot of trouble at this point, it's very difficult to see them staying up. At the same time, it's not because Ilić hasn't produced anything. He's on 5 assists in 10 Bundesliga games, so that's really solid, actually, and also tells me that he's quite involved in general and combines well with his teammates. And if they get a penalty, I'm pretty sure he'll take that as well. So yeah, ownership is 0%. Pretty good differential if you need a budget pick up front. And with the mid-price pick, I was a bit torn between Undav and Kramaric, but then I went with Undav in the end. 6 goals and 2 assists in his last 4 competitive games. That's really amazing. So yeah, a player that is very much in form at the moment, and obviously got a hat trick last week in the Bundesliga and now playing HSV. So yeah, should have a lot of potential this week. Kramaric, who I also just wanted to mention, I looked at his numbers and they're actually a bit disappointing. But again, we all know what he's capable of, and I think the game against Augsburg at home that's the sort of match that has Kramaric written all over it in a way. Could easily see him get on the score sheet there and being really involved at home in that game. So he's another alternative that I'd consider in that price category. And finally, Luis Diaz. We pretty much talked about it earlier. Why I think he's worth considering this week. He's really expensive, so might be difficult to fit him in unless you sell one of the other premium assets. If you can fit him in though, maybe alongside Kane, then you'll have a Bayern asset up front that will start for this really appealing home match against St. Pauli. So might make sense to bring him in if you can.
Yes, indeed. Definitely some moving around of numbers and shifting of finances if we're going to try and get Diaz in, but alongside his other colleagues. Lovely stuff. Thank you for those, Rune. Just picking up some cues and comments now. Broody just saying, Diamande, still the best budget option in my opinion, since Oli Werner has confirmed that he will be able to play. Yeah, Rune, Diamande, excellent player and a player who's excited, been at the forefront of a lot of Leipzig's excellent play at the top of the pitch. No Romelu, I don't believe, for Leipzig, but also we'll be able to see the Leipzig lineup before the end of play from a transfer deadline perspective as well, won't we?
Yeah, Yeah, Diomande is a really exciting player. He can do pretty much everything, as we saw last week. He can even defend. He made a really amazing run back to stop, I think it was Jens Stage, who was almost through on goal. So yeah, he'll play with a protective mask this week, and assuming that doesn't affect him too much, he should be in for another good game. So another good option in the budget category for sure.
Lovely stuff. Question here from Sergio. Thank you for this one. Is Diaz worth putting the star on? Yeah, good question there, given the fact that he's pretty much nailed on start, as we've discussed.
Yeah, I think so. Nailed on to start against St. Pauli at home and playing for Bayern. And even if Kane starts, that doesn't mean that Diaz can't do well. We've seen that a lot of times, that both of them have gotten amazing returns from the same game. So either way, Diaz should be an amazing option this week, and definitely, star pick potential.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gavin asked on X, good friend of the show, Gavin. First question is probably a tricky one, which is which prediction sites can we trust the most? Kicker has Kane and Elise on the bench. Liga Insider has both possibly to give way to Guerrero and Carl, while Bulinews has both starting. So obviously we trust Bulinews here, Gavin. Rune, obviously there's a lot of information coming out from these different sites. It's always a bit tricky, especially around rotation with Bayern involved. Anything that you can kind of reassure Gavin about there?
Well, I mean, the thing is that neither Bulinews, I can't predict exactly what will happen, and it's the same with the other two sides. We're always just trying to look logically at what's most likely to happen, and I just sort of explained the logic behind my predictions for Bayern starting lineup. The others, Kicker and Liga Insider, may have different opinions, but yeah, I always keep a close eye on the team news and also the other sources, all German sources, basically, if something's being reported up to the deadline, and then I'll change the lineups if needed. So sort of a combination between thinking logically about what's most likely to happen, and also adjusting based on the conferences, the press conferences, and what's being reported in the German media as well. That's what I do, at least.
Yeah, lovely stuff. And yeah, obviously, Gavin saying if Kane is a doubt, I'd rather replace him with Diaz, asking whether that's a risky move. Hopefully, Gavin, we've covered that for you as the show's been going on. Diaz nailed down as a starter for this weekend. So should you wish to make that move, Diaz would start, but obviously taking Kane out does obviously come with its risks there. So hopefully that helps a little bit there, Gavin. Then a couple more questions coming in, so we'll get through these. So let's do this one. From Broody, thoughts on Gruhl or Keke top from Bremen. Broody, you're loving the Werder assets this week, which is fair enough. They've like we said, they've got a good run of fixtures coming up. But whether we can trust them or not is another question, Rune. Gruhl has the ability, 100%, to do excellent things on the football pitch. I just worry about his consistency more than anything, Rune, and the same with Top, a young player still discovering what he is all about in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the prices, but with Gruhl, at least he'll start. For sure, he's a nailed-on starter. But then again, I think I can find other players who cost the same or just about the same that I'd rather have this week, such as Illich. I don't know if Gruhl is less expensive than him, but I can find other really good options I'd rather have. With Top, he's probably, I can imagine he's fairly cheap, but But then again, how impressive has his performance been? How much do you trust him to get a return? And at the same time, he's also competing with Boniface for the starting lineup. Probably get another chance this week. We can't be 100% sure though. So I think with Top, that would be if you need a budget pick, someone to have on the bench if you play 4-4-2, for example. I think he could be an okay option given Werder's fixtures, but not more than that from my perspective.
Lovely. And last two questions we have here. One from Zayed. Is Duan a hold for this week? They have lost both Uzun and Burkhardt, making their attack a bit weak. Rune, Duan obviously has been, is a player that holds a pretty price, and sometimes his returns haven't been as good, recently at least. Do you think he is a good option to hold for this weekend?
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty unwise time to sell him. They're playing Wolfsburg at home. Doesn't get much better than that, fixture-wise at least, because you're right, they've lost some important players to injuries, and Frankfurt are not playing their best football at the moment. They're coming off a pretty terrible defeat in Europe as well. But then again, playing Wolfsburg at home is very different to playing Atalanta in the Champions League. It is a great matchup for Eintracht at home, and Doan is nailed on to start in an attacking role. And who knows, maybe he'll take more responsibility with the other key players out. So definitely a hold for this week for me.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Thank you for that one. And one here from Mac Boehner. Do you think Undav will start 100%? I mean, I feel that it would be very strange to take out a player that's in such good form. To be frankly honest, the same really for El Canoes. I can see potentially rotation on the wings for VFB should Hoeneß decide to do that. Obviously, for example, on Thursday or yesterday, Assignon started further up alongside Laveling. Laveling also had a good game, so it might just be a case of VFB rotating that right winger slot for maybe Buonani or someone else. I think Rune is Thomas out, or because he didn't play on Thursday. But I mean, logic stands that Undav at least starts.
Yeah, I agree. Because of his form, also because there's no obvious alternative. Demirovic is still out, and as you said, Thomas has been out injured and still a big doubt. So doesn't really make much sense, I think, to take Undav out at the moment, all things considered.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the other option is bringing in Furyk on the wing as well. But not in terms of worrying for an Undav start. He'd either play up top or in the 10, I think. So thank you for that question. Lovely stuff. No more questions live or otherwise, I believe. So we'll bring it to a close there. Thank you, everyone, for watching and taking part. It has been an awesome show. Great way to kickstart my Friday morning, at least. And I hope everyone has enjoyed along with us. Just closing up, just to say, do leave a like on this video. If you've not been watching us live, do comment and we'll pick up anything asked pre the Friday night deadline. Make sure you sub to the channel. Lots of content coming out at the moment. Loads of vlogs and all our usual business to enjoy. Check us out on social media where we post and promote all our shows. So that's where you can find it all. X, Insta, Blue Sky, the rest. We are there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rune. And we will see you on Monday when we review it all after match week 12 has been done and dusted. Cheers all.
Bye.